Give me one moment, guys. We'll get this set up here so that I'm not having to hold my phone or anything. Get this adjusted. Got my trusty tripod in here, my phone plugged in. See if I can get this set. Move the seat back more. There we are. Up. Ah, there we go. Let me see how this looks. So we've got my nice tassel in the way. Let's see if I can move this up. No, maybe. Just maybe. Don't worry, I'm not like driving right now. I had to be asinine trying to do this while driving. There we go. That looks good. Now that way I can see the chat. Push that button there. All chat. Perfect. So I've got my mic pointed at me. You guys should be able to hear me okay. I take a drink of coffee. All right. This is my first time trying to do this, so hopefully this works out. And pretty much the intent of SWAE drives is to keep me from being really fucking bored. It's a 3.5 hour drive of this tournament. And the first part, I mean, it's just my local area. I drive it every single day for work, and it's just so boring to drive. Of course, as soon as I started my car this morning, the check engine light came on. So it's like, crap, I hope that's not anything serious. I don't think it is. My car is about 4 years old, 5 years old. 5 years old. It's a 2014 Mazda CX-5, which are very reliable cars. Been super happy with it, but this is the first time I've ever had the check engine light come on, so I'm a little worried. But it should be fine. It just won't explode in the middle of a mountain pass or anything. No worries. So the tournament is in Vancouver in Dice Age. I live down here in Central Oregon. And so I should, from my previous experience of just watching for when my internet goes out, it pretty much goes out in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours I'll have. It's essentially right as I get to the mountain and then, obviously driving up it and then over the other side. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's talk about Star Wars stuff. That's what everyone likes to talk about nowadays, right? So Star Wars stuff. So I am taking to this 800-point tournament, I'm taking what I call Drop Fleet Gazanti. And my 400-point version has tag because I need the points bid for first. The 800-point version is pretty much 800 points because at 800 points, I mean, there still is some element of first, last, but at 800 points, rogues play a really big deal to really deterrent that. And so I'm bringing just a ton of rogues and Drop Fleet Gazanti. So what it is you get your flotillas, right? And in 800 points, you can have 3 of them. So I put flight commanders on the Gazanti, slicer tools, and rapid launch bays. I stuff them full of decimators in like Boba Fett, Bosk, these Imperial ships that sure they've got high hull but only go speed 3, so they can't usually reliably strike out on turn 1 unless you're using, the whole Squall price mechanic, which after having played 2 ship for so long, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to use Squall or Quasar right now. I'm just kind of tired of that. So I want to do something a little jank. And so I came up with the idea just to stuff these flotillas full of decimators and then pop them off, because then you can reach out, within distance 1. And the cool thing about rapid launch bays is that when you use the squad command to drop the squad off, you can still command different squadrons. So if you fly all the Gazantis in formation, you send the first one out, he can't activate those squads that he drops off. but the follow-on Gazantes can. So you have your first Gazante that goes out, be something like Suppressor, drops off his guys. You follow up with like Vector, a Gazante with Vector, and now those like Moriki and Bosk, now they're speed 4. They're not speed 3 anymore. And then you can throw them at any opponent, you know, as long as they're not deployed back line. If they're deployed on front line, you can reach them and pop them. So I've been having fun with that. And I've debated about, you know, I'm still messing with the fleet list even when I get there. I might take All Fighters Follow Me instead of Vector and just spend points on All Fighters Follow Me and take something like Hondo somewhere. But the thing is, the rest of the elements of my list is 2 ISD2s and an Interdictor. And I'm taking Thrawn, because as much as I love Tag at 800 points, ships, I mean, with that much firepower going around, ships pretty much just explode. Okay, there's no like time to really use his ability, because you're going to focus fire. So that's Drop Fleet Gazante. It's an Interdictor with, you know, Grav Shift and Targeting Scrambler, so Thrawn can sit on the Interdictor and all nice and safe. It's got HIEs. And then the 2 ISDs, and then the 3 Gazantes. And the whole point is just to have fun. It's just 800-point casual tournament. We're going to try for at least 2 rounds for certain. The rounds are limited to 3 hours. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're expecting, I think, at least 6 to 8 players to show up. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not sure if there's anything coming up on the chat. If you guys want to chat, I can read my chat just fine. You're not distracting me if you want to chat at all. My screen, I've got my screen setting on pretty bright, and all I have to do is just glance, like just out of the corner of my eye, so you're not distracting me from driving at all if you guys are worried about that. That's the whole reason why I got the microphone set up and the camera positioned like I do. But it's been fun in my 400-point versions of the test. So when I first came up with this idea of the Drop Fleet Gazante, it was just some jank idea I came up with. I just thought it would be hilarious. And it is hilarious, by the way. You should guys, if you just want to play something that's just dumb fun, play Drop Fleet Gazante. It's the same thing along the lines of the Dumpster Fire. It's not that so much it's supposed to be competitive as it is fun, but it can be competitive because obviously Biggs got into, you know, top 40 at Worlds. It can be competitive, but obviously it just here. But it's a lot of fun. But as I've actually played it on the table, I mean, I haven't, but like serious list like a Yavaris or a 2-ship or something along those lines. I've been playing a lot of people on Vassal who are also flying jank lists, so it's just a battle of jank. So much as I do take away from the fact that, you know what, I do win, you know, quite a bit when I play with that, I also take into account that, you know what, other people are also flying and just flying some crazy stuff, so I shouldn't read too much into that. But winning is still winning. Gotta be a winner. If you're not winning, you're losing, Ricky Bobby. Gotta go fast. And that fleet is fun with Tag. The 400-point version is an ISD Kuat with boarding troopers and 2 Gazantes. And I like it. First I had it with Mahdi, and that was, you know, it's Mahdi. And then I did it with Tag. And it was so funny is that people would try to shoot my flotillas on turn 2. And so then my flotillas would discard the scatters and then start turn 3. It's like, oh, got my scatters back. And my opponents will be like, why did I even bother shooting your flotillas? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know the life choices that you need to make for that. Obviously, if it's like a big whammy ship that can get the accuracy and then blow it up in one shot, you know, that's a different story. But for the most part, going after the Gazantes with like squadrons and stuff, it's like, cool, I'll just scatter everything and then I get my scatter back, and guess what, you're still having a hard time trying to deal with the flotilla, and plus they got slicer tools. And so if they're running squadrons, if they spend time trying to chase down and blow up your Gazantes that are slicing them, it means they're not shooting my squadrons. If you're not shooting my squadrons, it means I'm shooting your squadrons, because I don't bring intel with that list. For any of you guys who saw the World Championship stream, you'll notice that both players did not bring intel in their lists. And for a long time, people have gotten into this mindset of, oh, if you want your fighters to do good, you got to bring intel. Well, that's not entirely true. It all depends on your fighter composition, and a lot of people assume that if you bring Maul or Mythal, you need to bring intel. And absolutely that's not the case. A lot of people will take Mauler and they'll dump him in the middle of a squad ball, and even if you got Dengar, guess what's going to happen? He's going to get, pretty much blinked to death. You use him tactically. You only engage a target or two just to focus down the two squads that you've selected to start with. And then when those two squads are dead, okay, great. If they want to come tie Mauler down, they got to move to him. Otherwise, if they want to stop their ships from getting bombed, then they have to go. Otherwise, they have to go chase your other squadrons that are trying to hit other ships. Or in the case if I did go all in on the squadron ball, then you just activate all the other squadrons that you have first to try to free Mauler by killing everything else. And then even in the squad phase, if you haven't done any, you didn't activate him, hopefully he's free by then, and you just move him. So there definitely is a slight meta shift moving away from intel and just focusing on pure fighter ball damage, because if you look at the intel aces, yeah, Dengar he's all right. Yeah, he's got 4 hull and a scatter. It can make him difficult to kill, but unless you're bringing along flight controllers and like Hal Runner and you're really kind of beefing up his attack die, he really doesn't contribute very much to the squadron fight. And at the same time, if you're throwing him in there for the squadron fight, what's going to happen? He's going to get targeted and he's going to die anyway. So why bring something so fragile? And Jan, it's the same thing. Again, she's only 4 holes. She's double brace. So all it takes is just 2 good attacks and she's done for, and nothing unless you bring a lot of escort for her to try to soak it up. But then she can still get killed by Saber. Happens all the time. Saber squadron just rolls in and nukes her off. But in the case of my fleet as a comp, if I did run into like escort heavy ships with Jan, I feel like I would struggle. Just because YT 1300s and Jan is just so broken. You can throw 5 squadrons at 1 YT, and if you don't have very good rolls, you won't kill that, even with 5 squadrons shooting at it. But ultimately, as I mentioned before, just intel, a lot of the, I should say, higher skilled players are moving to avoid intel and focusing more on just bringing more heavy hitting power. Another ace that provides more boost to their squadron ball to be able to kill squadrons faster or better in their initial strike, the alpha strike. But with the squad ball I bring, I got, one thing I will point out with Drop Fleet Gazanti that I found, so I never run Boba Fett. Like, I've never ran Boba Fett. I looked at his ability, I look at his point cost, I'm like, man, this guy is just expensive, and you can't even use his ability for like 2 rounds. Because you're usually like jockeying for position or for whatever. So you spend 26 points on an ability you only get to use maybe 3 rounds out of the whole game. And it just kind of seems not very worth it. But with Drop Fleet, when you stuff them in that launch bay, and you throw them out there and you pop them out there as a nice juicy target, again, he's got 6 hull and double brace, and he's got to get, if they want to take him out, they got to throw at least 3 to 4 fighters at him. And if they do that, that's fine, because then he brought all this stuff in range of my Gazanti, I get the flak them all if I'm first player the next turn, which 90% of the time I'm first player. So I'll get the flak them all, and that only just helps me out. Black die flak is just so good. It's so good. Even just getting one round off on a huge ball of enemy fighters makes it worth it to give up one squadron. Especially if they're scatter aces, because, I mean, if they scatter the one damage and their scatter is spent, if they don't scatter it, then they take a damage. That only helps you out for if you roll a good roll, you'll wipe out scatter aces. So, but I found really good use of Boba Fett with the drop Gazanti. Because that way he's sitting out there. If they want to come shoot him, he's going to be able to use his ability when he activates. Because if he does get targeted, then the next ship you bring up, you just activate Boba Fett. And then that way he's not going to die, usually, before he gets hit by too much damage. So that's where I found a use for Boba Fett. Then I have Boba Fett, I have Bosk, Moriki, Jendon, Steel, and Mauler Mythal. So I run 6 because I'm running all the expensive Rogue Squadron guys. I used to run a bunch of Decimators, but then I realized I could just get Boba Fett and Bosk for pretty much the same cost because I was still only bringing 6 fighters before. So it's like, might as well bring aces that have defense tokens. And I think everyone can agree that when they valued generic squadrons compared to ace squadrons, they messed that up real bad. The point valuing system of that is just awful. If I can bring 6 aces or 8 aces, which that's about the most reliable amount that you can activate anyway, why would you ever bring generics? There's no point. Generics have a place. It's just really difficult to justify, though. You really got to you have to build around the generics rather than build a squadron list and then kind of put what you want in it. Because the generics, you got to have ships to be able to activate them and get their value. I mean, you don't have to, I guess. Don't play Armada how I play Armada. Play Armada how you want to play Armada. But I wouldn't do it that way. Stoplight. All right, take a quick. Nope, I gotta see some chat on there. Greetings from mighty Australia. Hello, Australia. I can't see the name of who sent that. Is that Luke or is that someone else? Can't quite tell. I don't think it's Luke. Doesn't look like it. Love decimators for ship damage. Death by 1,000 cuts. Abso-fucking-lutely. Let's see here. Decimators. So the sun is just in the right spot where it's giving me some glare. Of course. Let's see here. Generics work best. There we go. We're back. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it suddenly cut off like that, but that's all right. Generics work best when fully invested into. Ash Loveday. Okay. All right. Let's put this hopefully back where I can get the sun glare not glaring. Ah, here we go. Here we go. I'm getting it. Master Camera Smith here, guys. Don't worry about it. Perfect. All right. We're back. We're back. We're doing the thing. Oh, you can't see my face so well. Is that going to work? There we go. That works. That's better. Gosh, Karnak. Why you gotta be so bad? And do the turn thing. There we go. Back on the highway. I mean, mass generics are fun. I've done it once or twice. My biggest deal is that, man, when you run that many squadrons too, it just takes forever to play. I did a tournament one time where I brought Thrawn bombers with roofless, and another one of my opponents also brought Thrawn bombers with roofless. We barely made it past round 3 because of all the activations and interactions. It just took forever. So that's another reason why I bring aces. Is for me, it's just less work, less thinking. I know there's a lot of talk going around about, FFG needs to fix things, and I agree. I do believe that there are some aspects in squadron play that could be streamlined and smoothed out. What those aspects are, I'm not a game developer. By no means do I understand how to fix anything, but it seems like potentially that there's a way that they could make it go faster. One of my biggest gripes I find is having the 2 different range ruler types, the close, medium, long, and then the distance ruler. Very, very rarely do you ever find any card that's like using distance 4 or distance 2 or up. It's pretty much, if you look at the ranges, it's always relatively close to what the range band is. And I get it. They're trying to add some intricacies for the squadron play, so some squadrons move speed 2 and some move 3 and 4 and yada yada, but all it does is discourage you from bringing different speed fighters because it takes so long switching back and forth between the distance band for the right speed for your different squadrons that you just want to run everything at the same speed anyway. So it just seems like they could have made like a fighter that moves at close range speed, a fighter that moves at medium range speed, and then fighters that move at long range speed. And I felt like that would have been sufficient. Or if nothing else, make marks on the range band itself that's like halfway on the range or something like that, and says, hey, make it go across just like how the normal lines do, and just be like, this is for squadron. Just have it all on one ruler. Oh my god, it would be so awesome if it was just all on one ruler. And you didn't have to switch between 15 different rulers to figure it out. That way you can just put it down, and then it can just move there. At the same time, then you can range ships still with one ruler, and just not having to. It just seems like that would have been more streamlined. But what do I know? I'm not a game developer. I feel like that is one solution, is just make everything one ruler band instead of the distance and range. But anyway, enough about that. Back to Drop Fleet Gazanti. It's fun, Jank. But I moved away from Decimators, as I mentioned, to Boba Fett, which I finally found a use for. I've been trying to find a use for Boba Fett for a long time, and just this is really the only time where I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually good. I mean, not that he's not good, he's just, you couldn't get use out of his ability. Now you can, I feel. Of course, Bosk is still a Bosk, unless he rolls all blanks all the time. Nothing more frustrating to throw 4 black die and get 1 damage. It's like, cool, why did I even bring this guy? 23 points of suck. But that's just anything. And somebody mentioned about the Decimator's anti-ship damage. The regular Decimators are pretty much the equivalent of the double-dyed Phantom Bombers. You never know what you're going to get. You're going to get 1 damage? You're going to get 3 damage? Who knows? It's a sweet feeling, though, when you do throw 3 or 4 Decimators. In this one, my initial list had Decimators, and one time I threw it at a Liberty at a side arc, and 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage, and the guy was like, what is even going on? His Liberty pretty much melted. to these decimators just because I rolled hot. But man, when they don't roll hot, it's 22 points of suck. And yeah, you know, when you have a bunch of black die, you're not very good against, obviously, scatter aces. You'll chew through generics and brace aces, though. Holy moly, you just tear right through them. That's the thing, too, like, with having Bosk, is that he's my insurance to try to get scatter aces. Because if they bring scatter ace counters like the A-Wings or Interceptors, I'm going to throw Bosk at them. Bosk, with nothing else, will make them spend the scatter, and they'll probably choose not to counter, but at least I made them spend the scatter initially, so that way when I have other black die guys come up to shoot at them, they're going to spend the scatter. You know, or the idea is they do counter Bosk, he gets damaged, and then I roll up with Jendon, and Jendon will make them hurt. But yeah, I would definitely say my list type is weak to scatter aces because it's just lots of black die. Boba Fett rolls 4 blue though, which is pretty nifty. He can roll those 4 blues for 1 damage. I've seen it happen. It's great. Or, you know, he'll roll 3 damage in accuracy, and that's awesome too. Yeah, the rapid launch bay thing too, it throws, even though it's stated in the FAQ about how it works, I played someone who was all like, you can't use rapid launch bays like that. I'm like, yeah, you can, it's in the FAQ. He's like, where? Show me. I'm like, okay. So I linked him the FAQ, and I was all like, look, it says it right there in this example that you can drop your squadrons, and then you can still activate any squadrons that you want. It doesn't have to be the squadrons that you've dropped. And he was all like, what? I'm like, I know, it's crazy. It's the aspect about rapid launch bays that a lot of people forget about, including myself. I forgot about that. Even though I did the card already on Star Wars Armada Explain, I forgot about it because I don't use it. And so I was all like, it's just really interesting. That card is just so interesting. I don't know how it came about, who developed it, why they worded it the way they did, why it works the way it does. I don't know why why that card is as it is. If somebody knows the history or backstory of that card, I know I would love to hear the story. Because that card and Thrawn and Price and Bale, I would probably have the most complicated history, especially Price and Bale. Oh my gosh. Price and Bale is a rabbit hole of unfortunate decisions made by developers. Well, the Price and Bale came about from World Champions. I think Price was initially started, the Price and Bale was started back like in Wave 2, Wave 3, something like that. One of the first, the guy who won with all the A-Wings, the first World Champion. What's his name? I can't remember. Apparently he wanted a card that allowed him to be able to go last, but then he wanted to absolutely go first. That's how Bale came about. Because he wanted to throw all of his A-Wings last, and then the start of the next turn, throw all his A-Wings guaranteed first. That's how that came about, that whole thing. So Price and Bale wasn't just some random decision that just came about and they threw in the testing and then they released it. The concept of them both was around for a very long time. And it took until when they were released for them to finally come out. I mean, obviously, duh. But just like the SSD, you know, lots of things stay cooking in playtesting, or they've been done playtesting for a long time, and they just haven't released it yet. I mean, SSD, again, nobody's broken any NDAs. I want to state that on the stream. I don't go after people and make them break NDAs. Nobody breaks any NDAs. I just listen and I hyper analyze how people say things. And sometimes, just like with anything, people are human. They'll mention something and they'll say something and they're like, "Oh crap, I didn't mean to say that." But everyone makes mistakes. I don't fault them for that, especially when you're hanging out in social circles where a lot of the players are playtesters. It's not my intent to be there to eavesdrop or siphon stuff I'm not supposed to know. I'm not after anything like that, but I'm still observant. I still listen. I can hear. I can analyze. It's important because I've guessed things and I've gone to someone and be like, "Hey, is this, and this?" And they're like, "How do you know that?" I'm like, "Oh, they say things, and more importantly, what they don't say." Because obviously they can't see if you're right or you're not, or they can't say certain things. So if you put up suggestions or post comments, normally people are very vocal about doing stuff around what you're trying to engage in conversation about. But if they choose to say nothing at all, you're hitting pretty close to the mark that they can't say anything. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble. So that's how I've been able to deduce stuff and figure things out. I think one time I even had somebody message me, not from FFG, but one of the playtesters, and be like, "Dude, as I said, I'm just good at being observant." And not that I haven't been wrong. I've been wrong on stuff too, but I'm more right than wrong. What a gorgeous day outside. It's so beautiful. It's just bright blue sunshine. There's not a cloud in the sky. Oh, it's a buggy. Oh my gosh. It's an old-timey buggy. You guys can't see it, so you won't get to enjoy it. It looks like, I can't tell if it's a Model T. What model is this? I'm talking to like 1930s car here, 1920s. Getting closer to it, because it can't go very fast. I'm gonna have to slow down. He can't even go the speed limit. Yeah, he's going along pretty good for not being able to hit the speed limit. He's going about 55 still. Yeah, okay, well, I'll go ahead and pass him. He's getting over. That's so tiny. That car is so tiny that he can fit off the side of the road, still be on the road, and I can pass him. I love old cars like that because, like, the way they're designed, it's just so interesting to see how cars have evolved, the evolution of that. That's a whole other topic. I'm not really a car person. Like, I don't tinker with engines. I don't get my hands covered in grease and oil. I grew up on a horse ranch. I mean, I did that to some degree. But I just love stuff like that. I love history. I read a lot of history growing up. I mean, if you want to know where I was at any time in middle school and high school, I was probably in the library reading history books. You know, Greek history, Roman, Egyptian, everything. I read everything. I'm very much a proponent of learning and understanding history because it's my belief as well that if you know your history, you are able to avoid making mistakes that people have already made. And then choose to make them anyway. That's how that usually goes. But yeah, for anyone who's watching, I'm on the driving to the tournament right now. I probably still have internet for about a good another hour or so. And I can still see the chat. Not distracted or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty straight. There's not anything crazy going on. Let me see if there's anything that I'm missing from the live chat while I was being dumb and talking just about myself. Mass Generics does take forever, which is probably another reason why people just take more aces. Yep, we've already agreed on that. Okay, who else is watching this? It's a good question. I see 5 people watching. Nobody wants to answer that question. Yeah, man, I'm watching this guy drive. All you see is my ugly little face and hear my annoying voice. It's so exciting, so real, so Star Wars. Man, I'm excited for the new Star Wars movie, except for, I don't like the title, Rise of Skywalker. It's like, what, did he fall down? Does he need help getting up? Like, help. I've fallen and I can't get up. I just feel like there needed to be it's back and Return of the Jedi. You know, it's, to me, it seems like those titles are great. You know, The Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, it's The Rise of Skywalker. He's old, he's fallen over, he needs help. I don't know if I'm going to be satisfied. I mean, The Last Jedi, I have grown to appreciate more, and I'm not going to get like into film debate about, you know, if you love Last Jedi, hate Last Jedi. Ultimately, after watching it the third time, first time I watched it, I just thought it was so dumb. But after watching Force Awakens and then Last Jedi back to back twice after that, I really appreciate, there's a lot of nuances in The Last Jedi that I feel that people missed. And then since they watched it the first time, they feel like it's a bad movie. They don't want to go back and watch it again. Maybe they do. I don't know. Me personally, I liked it after I watched it the third time after doing 2 back-to-back viewings of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi together. And there's just a lot of stuff between the two. I mean, it's unfortunate. A movie should ultimately stand on its own. I mean, unless it's something like, you know, the Avengers movies, which are built on, you know, 20 years of whatever video. But ultimately, a movie can stand on its own without too much need to know the history. But at the same time, it's Star Wars, and if you're going to a Star Wars movies and you don't know anything about Star Wars, that's just kind of, it's unfortunate, but you kind of need to know what you're getting into when you go to watch a Star Wars movie. And when you watch Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, they both complement each other in a way, especially Kylo Ren. Because when I saw Kylo Ren in Force Awakens, I'm like, okay, so it's a dude, he's there, I don't know, we don't know anything about him, and I just felt really disappointed in him as a villain. All I saw was a child throwing a temper tantrum. But The Last Jedi really allows you to see into his character, that when you do see him in Force Awakens now from the perspective of The Last Jedi, you understand his character a lot better, and I felt it made him a more believable villain after that. And I enjoy his character now more than I initially did. Not in each movie by themselves, he's all right, but ultimately with both movies all together, I enjoy his character as a whole. If any of that makes sense. Maybe it do, maybe it don't. All right. I agree. Yeah, one of the most redeeming factors last time. Yeah, I just think that the Rise of Skywalker. So obviously, as we see that, it's spoilers if you haven't seen the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, which if you're watching this, you probably have. When that TIE fighter is coming swooping in to chase Rey, that's not Kylo Ren. Not at all. That might be Kylo Ren's starfighter, but that's not Kylo Ren piloting it. It's absolutely somebody else. Who that someone else is a mystery. Because if it was Kylo Ren, they would have shown a cut of him, and they might be trying to build, I guess, suspense about is it actually Kylo Ren or not piloting it. It's my personal opinion. It's not. It isn't. Could be a Knight of Ren. Could be Emperor Palpatine back from the dead as a clone or a robot or cyborg, or he's a head on a stick. Who knows? It's Palpatine. He just will do his evil laugh and have some fan service, and then he'll die again. I'm looking forward to it. It definitely seems like the third movie will actually visit multiple locations. Instead of, oh man, that casino, I don't know who approved that casino scene in The Last Jedi. It definitely I felt was very politically heavy-handed. that scene was. But anyway, no more movie stuff. I'm gonna drink some coffee. Gorgeous day, beautiful day, perfect day to spend all day inside a game store playing Armada. Stuck behind a big old truck. I got some blueberries here too, man. Usually not a big fan of blueberries. Usually not my jam. But man, this case of these blueberries are like crack. I bought these fresh, and man, I just can't stop eating them. I'm already like halfway through this box. I bought it like 3 days ago. They're just so good. They're little crack-filled little blue balls. That came out wrong. Oh man, I love eating and slurping down some blue balls. Alright, that's probably the most inappropriate I'll get on the live stream. Gotta keep it somewhat kid-friendly, right? Or for anyone else watching this, what's going to happen is some poor kid is going to be watching this one day in the future. And his mom's going to walk in right as I was saying, slurping down some blue balls, and she's going to be like, I don't know what the fuck that is. You turn that shit off. So the tournament is hosted by Schmitty. And he and I have tried to get some games in before Worlds, and we've got videos of that. Schmitty's an awesome guy, fantastic human being. Art is going to be there. Lots of other locals are going to be there. Man, I haven't been to my local Armada scene since regionals. Kind of miss everybody. Because they used to go up like at least every other month and play. It just hasn't been working out because it was wintertime, so it was hard. And then I was at Worlds, and then there's this. And I have to plan when I drive up. It's a 3-hour drive there and back, so like I just can't go whenever I want. I have to plan around it. And most of my weekends are busy. Either I'm working on my house, or I'm helping friends out with stuff, or I don't feel like driving 6+ hours to go play some games. Because in 6 hours of driving, I could have gotten in 3 games of Armada. Now, what's some other stuff you guys want to talk about? What do we got going on here? Gonna have to hop out. Oh, thank you. Was that Hedgehog? Oh no, Triple Ace. Thanks, Triple Ace. Yeah, you can watch it later. I don't know. Any other suggestions, topics, things, meta for the two people that are watching? I feel like someone's watching me. Not seeing anything pop up. Let me try scrolling. Up. Stay still. There we go. Nope. All right. Well, I'll just keep yakking. Maybe something will come up. I think you guys can hear me okay. This mic is pretty good. I'm elevating my voice just a little bit just to make sure it picks me up. But yeah. Probably going to hit the mountains where I'll be out of range about another 30 minutes. So I'll just keep going until I get to that point, and then I won't stream again until the tournament starts. Don't want to dry out my presence too soon. Let's see. Other meta stuff. Right now the meta is just done. Because we're waiting for the SSD and Rebellion and the REM to drop. So a lot of us on the Discord, there's still tournament stuff going on, casual stuff, sure. I mean, the organized play. Oh my gosh, organized play What is going on with the kits? Why are the kits taking forever? Like, I want... So the Season 4 OP kit finally got to my local area like 3 weeks ago. Okay, we're in Quarter 2. Where's the Quarter 1 kit? Where's the Quarter 2 kit? Like, where's our kits? You change it to quarters, you only have to put them out once every 3 months. I get it. They're backed up. They're still backed up. They're still having so much problems getting stuff off the production line. I understand. It's just disappointing. I want my kits. I need my crack. I need my plastic crack. Ugh. You know, I want to fill out my the redirects and the contains and the cards or whatever. I want more of the acrylic defensive stuff. Oh, by the way, the acrylic stuff you got at Worlds is very nice. It's very nice. Not to rub that in too many people's faces, but man. So my biggest deal with those cardboard shield dials is that sometimes you're just so difficult to move, and then you move your ship and then you're frustrated because they were so hard to move. And then those acrylic dials, smooth as butter. They're silky smooth, man. You just barely touch it, and they don't like move or shake around if you're moving the ship with the movement tool. But when you go move those dials, smooth as butter, silky smooth. Just whoop whoop, and it's done. Man, if I could have something like that. I mean, the biggest reason why I started using washers for squadron play. So I was getting ticked off because I would pick up squadrons to adjust their health, and I'd put them back down. And then over the course of gameplay, stuff that I knew I was in range for abilities or for attacking, suddenly I'm not anymore. For me or my opponent. And so it was just frustrating. That's why I have the washers. Imagine if we had something acrylic like that on the actual squadron things, where it was silky smooth. You could turn those with just your finger on the table by pushing on it and just turning it without having to pick it up. That's what's frustrating. I understand acrylic is expensive. You know, it's not cheap like layered cardboard. You know, I get it. But that's the biggest reason why I use washers, is because I got tired of stuff moving around. You know, because I don't want to cheat. I don't, you know, I understand my opponent is not intentionally trying to cheat, or that's my belief. Just like with anything, crap happens. No one. If you're trying to intentionally cheat at Star Wars Armada, like, there's not very many opportunities to cheat, and not very many opportunities where cheating is going to gain you much benefit. Can it? Sure, absolutely. There's always, I mean, you wouldn't cheat if you wouldn't get some benefit out of it. But ultimately, you're not getting anything. You know, if you fly like crap, you're still going to fly like crap. If you make poor decisions, you're still making poor decisions, and you're going to lose. It's just that we're trying to play a precise game, and we're given imprecise tools to accomplish that. But that's Armada, baby. That's Armada. Blueberry, so good. What other meta stuff? So meta, top-end meta, moving away from Intel. Top-end meta, all the top players were just kind of burnt out. We're just kind of collectively collecting ourselves until the SSD and Rebellion in the Rim drop. Playing casual games, playing jank. And by the way, I'm definitely not stating that I'm a top meta player. Just because I made top 40 at Worlds does not mean I'm a good player. I was running 2-ship. And granted, I mean, you can play 2-ship and still lose horribly, but 2-ship was all I knew at the time. I tried flying a couple of other lists because I didn't want to bring 2-ship, but in the end, Geek said it best. Fly with what you know, and fly with what you know you're going to win with. And so that's what I did. Because if you're making all that expense to go to Worlds, you're not going there to lose. I mean, you can go there to fly jank if you want. You can go there to fly something crazy. That's fine. But you never go with the intention of, oh, I'm going to fly to lose. I want to fly to win. Winning is fun. I'm competitive by nature. I like winning. Don't mind, losing. I get more frustrated at the dumb mistakes that I made that contribute to my losses more than anything my opponent does. What else? Yeah, mainly just the waiting, man. Just quarter 3, so far away. Quarter 3 doesn't end until September. So far away. And they're not gonna release the SSD or Rebellion in the Rim until very, very late quarter 3. And by late quarter 3, I mean the absolute last freaking day they can release it on. Hopefully they will make an announcement about what the new stuff is going to be. Just continue to try to help tie us over until the new content comes out. There's rumors that they want the new content they've announced, but they haven't given information about. They want it for a Christmas release, which makes sense. Christmas is where they make a lot of money. People want to buy things for presents and things. Historically, they have not been meeting or making any of their Christmas stuff. Not for Armada, anyway. But we'll see. We'll see if it comes out in time. I don't think it will. I think we're going to get the SSD and Rebellion in the Rim this year, and then we won't get any new stuff until, gosh, probably not until at least quarter 3 of next year again. Because we share the same production line as X-Wing. Because it's the only miniatures that are pre-painted. That are spaceships. So which one's going to get priority? Take a guess. X-Wing. X-Wing is where they make money. I get it. I understand it. I don't have to like it. But I understand it. X-Wing is where they got a lot of money. They've sunk a lot of money into 2.0. It sells way more than Armada, and that's how it be. That's all right. I'm happy with the SSD Rebellion in the Rim. I'm so curious to see the rest of the squadrons in the new ship titles. There's been some back and forth debate on if Rebellion in the Rim is only coming out with a few ship titles, or if every ship minus the SSD is getting a new ship title. From what I understand, every ship is getting a new title. Because it's not really, we have a ton of ships already in Armada. How do you play those ships differently? New titles helps. I also would like to see them release new ship variants for those ships as well, for their ship cards. Man, even just introducing a new ship card for every ship and making drastic changes to it, like, switch up their maneuver chart, switch up their command values and things like that. Why not? You're not going to break the game. If, like, you make an Arcaden's Command 3, maybe it's got a beefed up something or another. Maybe it's got a different nav chart, Like, for example, the Arcadens, make it Command 3, but now it has, like, a better maneuver chart. So you force that player, if they want a better maneuver chart for the Arcadens, they make it Command 3, so you have to make better decisions for later into the game. Or something like that. I don't know. Again, I'm not a game designer. I don't claim to understand or know how any of it works. But that's just the kind of stuff that intrigues me, is don't just go with the same cookie cutter like, for example, we've got 4 different ISD variants, and they're the poor ISD one you'll never see play again, but it's great that they all have these different changes and things. But man, I just think it would be cool if they all didn't have the same nav chart, if their nav chart was slightly different. Same thing with the rest of the ships. Switch up their nav charts. Why not? What's the harm? What's gonna make them so crazy and broken that you switch their nav charts around? Who knows? Rebellion in the Rim is going to be fantastic. That's going to be, I mean, as much as the SSD is going to slightly change things, it's Rebellion in the Rim where you're going to see, I mean, all those new objective cards. So I finally at least know how to play all the objectives in Armada now, like in my mindset, without having to go look it up. To relearn the rules for 12 new cards and all the new obstacles and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I am super excited for it. Nothing's going to change a meta than changing objective cards. I'm just not looking forward to reviewing and not redoing, but just learning and understanding all those videos. Oh, I'm going to try to pass someone here if I can. Oh, somebody already doing it from behind me. I'm going to do it to it as well. There we go. Highway I'm on actually is known for people getting killed all the time, doing exactly what that guy was doing, which is trying to pass like 15 cars. Anyway. New squadrons. I desperately want to know the new Jumpmaster Ace. So my personal opinion on the new Jumpmaster Ace, whatever it may be, I don't know. Don't have intel on it. Please, for the love of God, do not give the new Jumpmaster Ace intel. I don't want it. I want a Jumpmaster Ace who's a fighter and a brawler. It's going to take the fight to the end. Same thing with the Hawks. Don't put intel on them. Make them fighters. Make them something different than cookie cutter intel. Give them a reason to be on the table other than just their intel. Because I love how I painted my Jumpmaster models, and I don't like the fact that they have to stay, not in the fight. They're always, off in the back or by themselves or whatever. I want them to be in the fight, damn it. I want them to be in there and fight good. I don't know how they're going to point us if intel is enough. I don't know what I was talking about when I lost connection. I think I was talking about Jumpmasters and intel. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me on the drive. I got about another 2 hours of driving to do. So I'm going to kick back, listen live. Next time I stream, hope you guys enjoyed the live stream, just the chit chats and everything else.